All right, everyone. This is Adam Perry here with TrueDFS. I am going to go over tonight's hockey slate, which is now just a 3-game slate. So I was going to come on and say that we're waiting on some news in the early games. Really, we got the biggest news in the late game with the fact that it looks like the Kings are going to be canceled. Most importantly, though, is for everyone to stay safe. For us personally, Bobby's dealing with this, and there's really millions of people dealing with these fires. So hopefully everyone's safe. But that, as far as the slate goes, is really going to change things because we had a small slate to begin with. It's not just a 3-game slate. And if I go over to SaberSim, I mean, there's a huge discrepancies in some of the totals. Colorado's about a point higher than anyone else on the slate in these 3 games. And the other thing it does is it makes it hard. Not hard. It makes it almost impossible to use contest sims right now, which is what I was going to do. So maybe this is a good opportunity to just do some hand building, get a feel for that. I think it never hurts to kind of walk through slowly with those concepts and build by hand and just get a feel for what it's doing. I also think if we do that, we'll probably get an idea of what's going to be chalky, or at least what some part of the field who's hand building is doing. And I think that's the way to go now. I don't think we could do much. I mean, if we sort by value, I'll sort SaberSims by value, but I'll go to the sheets as well. Sheets of stuff and Goldies. It's like the Kings that are the best value plays. If you're going to get expensive stuff in, you're probably going to need the builder was probably going to use Kings. That game is now gone. So, I don't know how much even just using it as an optimizer is going to help us right now. Ownership's going to change dramatically. All of that. I mean, if we sort point per dollar, we're in Goldie stuff. 3 Kings right there after the Vancouver guy. We could talk about that though too. That's a good segue because I was all ready to come on and say, well, it's a 4-game slate, but there's still a lot of news for a 4-game slate. And that's without one getting canceled. There's just some things to go over. If you look at some of the news, I mean, it seems like, Drouin's out for Colorado. So we're unsure right now what line 1's going to be for Colorado and who's going to take Drouin's place on power play 1. I think it's probably going to be Lehkonen or Colton. I think Colton was there last time, but we could check that if we really need to. But the fact of the matter is we don't know for sure, and we're not going to know until right before lock when we get that. And it's a similar story. I'm trying to find it, but we had a similar story with the Canucks. So Pettersson's a game time decision. So then the question is, let's say Pettersson's out. Do they keep everything the same? Maybe, because he's been out for a while. And then this Lekamaki value stays the same because he moved up to or came in and played on EV1 and power play 2. But now if Pettersson's back and they have him on the first line with DeBrusk, or was it Miller and Besser, then it's for one, not that cheap of a line, and 2, it's going to totally take away the top value. So on top of not having these LA guys, we're not going to have the Vancouver. So a lot of the point per dollar stuff is going to change, and that's really going to change things around. So maybe a good time to just hand build. I need to think how I would do this. And what I'm going to do is go to the value scores, have the SaberSim up, have the lines up, and then I'm going to go through every team and see what it would look like to build a 4 or 5 man, maybe even a 6 man with those teams, and how we do it. And if they're viable. I mean, some of these might be too expensive. I had one in holding my place before, but I don't know. We could start at the top with the highest total. can you even stack the power play of McKinnon if you want to? I'm not sure. So let's see if we go McKinnon, Middlestead, I think is on PP1, and yeah, so Daily Faceoff is projecting Lehkonen on line 1. That makes sense. They're projecting him to be in the first power play ahead of like Colton. So if we went McKinnon, Middlestead, Rantanen, I mean, I bet you can't even do this. Rantanen, when we might need Tays instead. If you wanted Lehkonen, I mean, just say it was even cheaper at 5K if you stack their power play, and it was the cheaper version of it that we might get. Can you even do it? Who's the cheapest goalie now with Calgary? Let's actually just highlight everyone. So the cheapest goalie you're going to get is Chicago, which makes sense. So next is Utah. Yeah, I mean, it's not even possible to do this. If you want a 5-man stack Colorado, you have to take out Makar. You have to take out Rantanen, or maybe both. I mean, if you put Tays in, you can do it. Then you're searching for value. Let's say we do get the Maki value. Yeah, I mean, that's how you're going to have to play Colorado. You cannot get the full power play. You can get, like, if it's Lehkonen, you could do like him and you'd have the EV1 correlation plus the power play correlation. You could do Tays and Makar, then you're leaving off Rantanen. You know, maybe a sharp way to play it is you leave off McKinnon. He's going to be high owned, and he's going to be really high owned in combination. So if you want to do that, you could. Then you're looking for value at center. Most likely. You've got like Danault. Danault is gone. And Kings and value scores are popping up everywhere, and they're gone. So what else could we do? Calgary is gone. Kings. Yeah, I mean, this slate is going to change a lot. Okay, so Schmaltz 4,400, kind of getting down there. So what we want to do is point per dollar. So then you're getting the cheap Chicago guys in. You're kind of game stacking. I mean, that's about the only way you're going to do it. Colorado's tough, man. Like if you don't play them, if you play them as one-offs, you might get a lot of ownership on them because of the team total and they're high projected plays. So then you have high owned one-offs, which, you know, I mean, that could be tough. And if you play them as a stack, what you got to do, I mean, you got to kind of dive down. I imagine the combinatorics of the ownership. I mean, just the fact that I always have to go to Tays, and Tays is a good play. Tays plays a lot of minutes. Tays is coming off a great game. He's going to be high owned too. And he's going to be high owned in combination with all these kind of Colorado guys. You almost need Middlestead to get any of them in. So Colorado's going to be chalky, and it's going to be hard to play him differently. Maybe what you want to do, maybe you want to take like a punty, get your value from the same team. That may be how I do it. So what if instead, you know, you look at their D-men, Gerard, Manson. They're supposed to be going 11-7, having 7 D-men tonight. So I think that's going to like really crush the time on ice for Malinsky and Middleton. Not that it was good to begin with. Manson's kind of an up-and-comer. See how Gerard's priced. Yeah, I mean, Gerard ain't that cheap. we get Manson in? He's probably playing your 20 minutes a game. Yeah, he can get up to 19, 20 minutes. He's in a high total, somewhat cheap. I mean, you could do that. Then you're starting to stack a little differently. I mean, you leave McKinnon off, leave Makar off. You're missing a lot of point projection, though. I mean, then the stack is good. So Colorado's tough. And I imagine people are going to try and do it. It'll be interesting to see once we get everything updated for the game being out to see how the Sims have this bear out. Let's try. See, I mean, let's say we just want to get off Colorado. Either we think they're chalky or too expensive. I was playing around with Utah earlier. The nice thing about Utah is they're cheap. They have higher total than Vancouver. They're right about it. Chicago. I mean, I think SaberSim. Yeah, I mean, SaberSim's a little higher on Chicago than the market. The market is minus 130 over 2.5 for Utah, minus 114. So they're a little bit higher total than Chicago, despite the 2.8 coming out in SaberSim. But let's see, what we could do if we played Utah lines or power play. Yeah, so power play is going to be Keller, Schmaltz, Gunther, Cooley, and Sergachev. And then you get some of these cheaper D guys that do stuff. Or you could pair, if you want to get the full line correlation, if you really want to onslaught it, you could throw a cheap McBain or a Hayton in. So let's see, if we went to the Utah power play. Yeah, Cooley at center. Gunther. Schmaltz. Keller. Sergachev. I mean, you got a lot to work with. Correlate the goalie. It's especially on a small slate can be viable. Now what happens if you want to play McKinnon? You can do it. You can play McKinnon. You can get that Maki guy, and you got 3,200 left to play any of these D guys. You can even. I mean, I would do this. I would play Manson to get a little bit of correlation with McKinnon, or I would just throw in the full onslaught. At 3K, you don't need a ton with him, but if he comes along at even strength for an assist, you're more than returning value. Getting about value already on Mata. I think Mata plays pretty good minutes. He's up with the first D pairing. Yeah, I mean, Mata's getting minutes too, so you can go that way. Let's see, Chicago probably lets us even do more. I mean, I imagine if you're playing Chicago, that's going to be for sure you're getting in the high price stars. Let's see what their lines look like. So EV1's Bertuzzi, Bedard, Mikheyev. I think Bertuzzi and Bedard are on the power play. Hall, Dickinson, Foligno. Let's see, make sure. Yeah, Bertuzzi and Bedard, Donato and Teravainen are on EV3. No, 3 and 4. So let's see what happens if we try and get them in. We're giving up even more even strength correlation if we use Chicago. Let's see, it was Bedard, Bertuzzi, Teuvo, Seth Jones. I mean, it is dirt cheap. Donato's on line 4. He's higher price than all of them. Then, do whatever. I am hesitant to correlate the goalie in this one, but you can, you can get even. Let's say Utah, or even play a goalie on a team that's favored. So, you got tons left, and you want to game stack it. It's no problem. Get in. Oh, you know what though? You can't get in Middlestead, but you could get in like Tays. And then you have 3,100. Pick your favorite guy. We can't go 6-man in this. You can get Payne. You can go even higher in goalie. So on one hand, Utah lets you do a lot. Chicago lets you do anything. But there's a world where these stacks in 3-man, 4-man, 5-man iterations are all paired with the spend ups. They're the ones that let you get McKinnon or Rantanen or some combination of Colorado. And so then you have to ask yourself, well, if I'm playing Chicago and they may seem low projected and kind of low owned, but am I backing myself into a spot where everyone who does own them has, very tight variations on the same thing? I don't know that that's the case. That's just something I'm kind of worried about. I think if it's going through my head, it's going through others' head. I think traditional optimizers would be likely to do it this way, for it to come out in the wash this way. So it's really a good slate to use the Sims for. We just don't have access to that. We'll see if SaberSim has updated anything. I think that's going to take them a while. Nope, they got the game off. Okay. They've got it off. Do they have ownership? Ownership hasn't updated yet. So they still have still can't run a sim because while they've got the projections out, they don't have ownership out. But we can run it and just look at their Saber score metric and see what happens. So we've got to make 2 changes. And I'm always playing those smaller field, low entry stuff. So I'm going to build accordingly. I like playing the large stacks. I don't know if I have that. Yeah. So I have it to just build 5 and 6 minutes. It can be tough on a 3-game slate. We can certainly expand that for purposes of the video. Let's just see how many we get. Did I add my sim for later? Yeah. So, I don't know. I think the mid-range is interesting. If a lot of people are doing what I just came up with, then it may be interesting to build with Washington or Vancouver. Florida has some news too. Ekblad didn't play the last game. He was in warmups today, so it looks like he could play. He's the first power play quarterback, and he's not expensive, but he's not cheap, and he's harder to get with the other guys. The SaberSim has him out. He's 4,800. So they have Bachvist in, but it's unclear that Bachvist is going to be that first power play quarterback. If he is, he's a pretty decent upside. He won't have as much value because he doesn't play a lot of minutes, so his average projection is going to be kind of low. But his upside's pretty good being on power play 1. So we'll see if the builder notices that. The other thing that happened last game is, so this Samoskevich, who's projected to be on power play 1, he was replaced in the game. And I think Verhaeghe had gotten the power play minutes. And so before we examine those, maybe worth looking like last game, what Florida did with Samoskevich, because if SaberSim and or other sites continue to use data sources that have him coming in as power play 1 and he's not, at 2,500, that could really take away one of the top upside pump plays. So first power play Florida got, they went Bachvist, Reinhardt, Chichuk, Samoskevich, Barkov. Next power play, this is the next 3 power play opportunities, 2 power play opportunities. This was the end of the period. So the next 2, Samoskevich was taken off, and Verhaeghe was on power play 1. And they played the whole 2 minutes. So we'll see if we get any Samoskevich. I think it's something to worry about. Let's see, like if Sheets, his stuff has the lines on here. Yeah, so he's still got 4-1 on Samoskevich. And at 2,500, I mean, that's going to look pretty nice, except that it's a little dicey. I don't think Samoskevich is necessarily power play 1, so we'll see. Let's see. Okay, we got an updated ownership. It looks like at 221. So let's see if that's got the Kings and the Calgary out, and then we can run Sims too. I think this is a great slate, in my opinion, to use the Sims. Yeah, so Kadri is Calgary, and he's zeroed out. Deneau is one of those values. No, they still have ownership on the Kings, guys. But, okay, that's fine. So ownership hasn't totally updated. Anderson, he was one of those top values. Mikey Anderson, is he still? Yeah, he's still got ownership. So we're simming against old ownership. So let's hold off on that. Let's just see, like, using Saber Score or projection, what the best 5-man stacks we could get are. Saber Score wants you to play Colorado. I mean, Colorado's going to be pretty popular. So here you get them in with the Chicago cheapo, Vancouver, 3,200, and actually using D in the flex to get the spend down. And that lets you get McKinnon and Rantanen, no Makar, but you got Tays. I mean, this is just as of right now, this combination is going to be high owned. I'm confident. Yeah, they're giving you the punty. It really wants you to get to Colorado. I think the Sims will probably say otherwise, but here it gives you the 3K D. I mean, if I'm going to punt an extra D man, I to me it seems to make sense to correlate it with the stack and get things to go off. It'd be interesting to see if we allowed 4-mans, how many of those we'd get. I mean, maybe we'd get the cheapos coming from the other teams and just get 4 of the Colorado. But of the best 5-mans, it really wants you to play this. Let's see. So with ownership, kind of a little, let's actually see before we go to a simulation. Yeah, and the Colorado's, if we sort by projected score, projecting better than everyone, it's all 10 5-man Colorados. Here's your Samoskevich. Oh, they updated that too. Okay. They've got him on power play too, so that's good. So we don't have to worry about that later. Sometimes those things don't get updated. And you kind of got to just know it when you're playing lineups. So if we sort by ROI now, then you get your Chicagos, some Vancouver, some Utah, still some Colorado. Colorado's still the top ROI. That's it. I mean, that's because it still has ownership on Kings and Calgary. So I would urge you to come back, do this yourself once ownership updates. Let's see what it does with like a Chicago. Yeah, see, I like this. I like Chicago with you pay up, get like Ovechkin and Chuck, and you don't play any Colorado. You correlate the goalie. You hope they pull off a huge upset. Even if they don't, it could be all right. I mean, with 3 games, there's plenty of possibilities no goalies score that well, and that the money you save really helps you. So I don't know. That looks interesting to me. Here you got Chuck and Backfist correlated, assuming he is in. Let's see if they put Ekblad in, because I don't see a line on him. Yep. Ekblad is now being projected in. Okay. So one thing you could do too, if you want to anticipate these, is in the TrueDFS Discord, there's a news channel for I don't know if you could see my Discord screen, but there's a news channel that gets all the NHL news from Left Wing Lock. And so you can kind of anticipate what they're doing. They are the data source for SaberSim. So whoever Left Wing Lock has is who SaberSim is going to simulate and project in for the even strength and power play stuff. Now, the thing to remember is Left Wing Lock is not always accurate. So keep that in mind. With that, I'm going to actually tune out for now. The thing about this slate, we ended up not being able to do too much. All-Star DFS says, let's go. Let's fucking go. We're not able to do too much until we get everything updated, but it is a look into my process and how I might do things. I'll do this much closer to lock, of course, and I urge you to as well. But as Sheets said recently, you got to get reps with these things. And so taking a half hour to even do it when you know it is not exactly how the slate is going to look at lock is still very valuable, because you are getting, as they say, a repeatable process, and you are doing the repetition, getting those reps in, flexing the muscles, so that when there is things that you have to change, get right, fix before lock, you are ready to go. So I could do this process now pretty darn quickly, and don't need this kind of full half hour. But yeah, so I would urge you to keep looking. I'll keep doing these probably about 3 times a week, if not more. And in some regard, it's good that we get these kind of newsy slates with guys that could be out before lock and stuff, because it gives us a chance to flex those muscles. If you're looking for more stuff like this, join the Discord. TrueDFS has a great Discord community. I'm always in there to chat NHL, but I chat the other sports too, and as far as DFS and betting goes. And you can get all these tools. You can get SaberSim through TrueDFS, which gets you not only SaberSim, but Goldie and Sheets projections to go along with it, and you would do it at the same price. So it's like an add-on for nothing more than you pay if you just got SaberSim. There's really no reason not to do that. So I highly recommend it. I recommend joining us, getting in Discord, and feel free to ask questions. And I am out. Thank you.